What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to Oh So Simplified. Thanks for tuning into the channel. Let's jump in to this one. So this one is all about having the figure it out mentality. This video comes from what I observe other people to have or not have, depending on who you're looking at. Something that I've really cultivated and I'm continuing to develop, but I think that I've developed a few years ago, probably more to my early to mid 20s. So I guess at this point it's almost 7 to 10 years ago. But it's this figure it out mentality, in a way of just approaching life that you don't ever really look at a problem as unsolvable. So where I'll start with this is that there's kind of two main different ways I look at that you can look at any problem or issue that comes up in your life. You can either look at it from the problem side or the solution side. It's very hard to look at both at the same time, and I generally feel like people that focus on the problem side, which is also very much what society and the media pushes towards you these days, it leads you to a place where you don't have a solution. Then the solution side, and specifically the solution being something you can figure out, not something that needs to be solved by somebody else, not something that you need to, a tool is different, but like purchase the fixed version of for it to be solved. It's something that you can figure out, and I will even go as far as to say, unless this is like something that's super, like if my furnace completely blew up, like I'm not gonna go try to fix that myself. But if it's something simple that's really not like, you're like, this cannot be rocket science, generally you're a better person to solve it than calling somebody else, because they don't have the sort of information you have about like what they're working on. And I'm saying this a lot when at the end you'll see that a lot of this comes in the context of a house for me, of where this video idea really came from. But it can be applied to really anything. So the first idea is being more solution oriented than problem oriented. The idea with this is that whatever you focus on is what is going to appear more of. So if you approach any situation, any problem, let's say you have a flat tire, and you start thinking about the flat tire, thinking about the problem, thinking about how late you're going to be, thinking about all the issues that you have, thinking about the fact that you've never changed a flat tire, none of that is going to help you fix the flat tire. It's just going to make you more overwhelmed and put you in more of a position where you don't know what to do. Now, if you start to look at the solution, I have a flat tire. That's the issue. How do I fix the flat tire? You can see if you have a jack in your car. Do you have a spare in your car? Did you sign up for AAA? Do you have, roadside assistance with your insurance? You can start to think of the different options you have. Do I need to call a tow truck? Is there a gas station or a shop that I could, maybe wheel my car over to? You can start to think of the solutions instead of panicking, and it's just a better position to be in that sort of situation. So I'm definitely a fan of solution oriented thinking, and also extrapolating this to something extrapolating this outside of something like a flat tire, because that's kind of like an issue that most people would probably just have somebody that they could call, or you could try to fix it on the side of the road, which is definitely an option. You could pull out your phone and look up a YouTube course, like video on it, which I would definitely suggest, which is going to be a point that comes in the other end, is that generally when you have any issue in life, any problem, anything you're looking to get through, there is some sort of solution. There is a way out of it. Staying in the problem, staying in the overwhelm of like, oh no, poor me, I'm the victim, is not going to at all propel you forward. Looking at the solution is really the only thing that can prove you forward. And any problem that you have in life is figure outable. I think Marleo something Forleo, I forgot her name. She did dance and does these podcasts. I think she has a book called that. I never read it, but it's something like everything's figure outable. And I think that's a good phrase, that everything is figure outable. And what I think a lot of people do is they take their power they have, from them being able to be the one that can figure out and feel like somebody else has got to figure it out. Now, in the aspect, we can keep using this car analogy. If you were to just call a tow truck company, they're not going to give you the cheapest, smartest solution because they have no idea who you are. They're not looking at this personally. They want to get paid. Maybe you don't even need somebody to tow you, that like you could push the car somewhere and just park it and then have a better solution. That generally the people you're calling outside to help you, also you could look at this like a career. I see all the time whenever I'm on any of these like entrepreneurship type YouTube chats, people will type in like, what's the best business I should start? It's like, dude, like they don't know anything about you. Like, how can somebody give you that answer? That's something you got to figure out. And the issue and why you're asking other people is because you think you can't figure it out. You don't think you have the figure it out ability to figure out what to do. And that's something that I think a lot of people need to shed off, especially if you want to have any self-sufficiency, if you want to keep any money, and if you want to have things generally done correctly. So even if you did need to have somebody come out, that you've assessed the problem so thoroughly, you've looked at all the solutions and exercised all the solutions you could do, that when you have somebody come, you can have them do exactly what you need. And that's something that, once again, I think is very important, that in this day and age, we are so quick to outsource. If you have a headache, you don't think maybe I'm dehydrated, maybe I'm tired, maybe I'm not getting nutrients. You think I should pop an Advil. If you have a sore throat, you don't think, what have I been eating? Is the air quality in my house bad? Am I sleeping with a fan blowing into my face? You think, I need some throat medicine to cure the symptom and mask the actual cause. And instead of you actually going deeper to figure it out, you look to somebody else. The same thing with injuries. I really don't like going to the doctor because they will send you on a goose chase, a wild goose chase, so that they can make more money and send you through insurance. Like, I've needed an MRI on my shoulder just to figure out what was done, and it was impossible. They just kept telling me other things were wrong and they needed to do this test and that test and this test, and I'm like, you're scamming me, dude. Like, I know. And when you talk to them, because they went to doctor school, or I guess you call it medical school, they think that, but it's like, dude, I've been living in my body for 30 years. Like, there is no way you're going to tell me what I feel better than I can tell you what I feel. And I know what's wrong with me. And there might be things that are internal organs that I wouldn't know, that I would go to somebody else. Like, I know when I was 17, I had the worst stomach infection I've ever had. I went to somebody for that. But, if I sprain my toe, I don't need the doctor to tell me what I can do. If I can bend my toe and move it around and basically walk on it, I understand what needs to happen. I probably need to rest it. I need to stretch it and use it a little bit so that it doesn't get stiff. Whereas the doctor will put you in a brace and you'll never be able to use that toe again to the full ability. Now, this ain't medical advice, so don't peg me on that. But that was just my little rant on, generally, when you take the reins to figure it out, you get a better solution than if you just outsource it to somebody else to fix it. The last one I'll mention on this, because it's going to tie into what else, is like, I had a lot of work that needed to be done on the house, and I had a contractor who was supposed to be a friend basically demo my entire bathroom and kitchen. Didn't even help me finish the demo, but he demoed it to a point where there's like, I had to go through with it. And I had to figure a lot of things out and put a lot of things together. Now, I asked for help on certain things and then actually did them myself. One of which was I had to box out the stack. So in any house, there's like, especially like a two-family house, there is generally like a big waste pipe that's somewhere in one of your walls, that all of the waste for the house hits this pipe and then runs to end up going out of your house to the main. But you have to have that boxed out so nobody like drills something into it, because nobody wants like a bunch of like all of the waste for the entire house to be spilling somewhere. So I had to build a box out for it, because we did something where the box that was there, I had asked a couple other people to help me, and then I figured it out. I built one myself, and when they came, they're like, that's better than what I would have done, because it's not their house. And then that was one of those things that I thought about. And I had some plumbers and stuff come in here, and they did some things that now that I'm looking at it, and I had to do what I needed to do. Like I had 2 slow drains in my bathtub and my sink. I had to figure out like, why is the toilet connected to this? How does plumbing work? How do all these things connect? I had to get a little snake thing. Where do you stick it in the hole? Do you stick it through the sink? How do you keep getting it through the line? And it was very simple. It was not freaking rocket science. But most people I talked to when I was saying that I was going to do it, or like, call a plumber, call somebody to do it, call somebody to do it. I fixed it in a couple hours, and it's better than it was. It's like everything's draining completely fine. Now I understand what was wrong. There was like hairs and stuff from probably the people I bought it from before that were stuck in the line. I found out another issue with it where it's like, I know where it's clogging because I pulled out pieces of the ceiling. If you could see on the other end, parts of the ceiling, I mean, it's just drop ceiling. I pulled out and I looked up some YouTube videos, and that's something I want to jump into as well, is that in this day and age, there is no reason for you to not have at least a rudimentary understanding of the solution. Even if the solution is way out of the scope of what you will do. Like, I know I have an issue with that main stack that I'm talking about under the basement getting pushed out. Some of it is rotted. Now, I don't think I'm gonna go and get the freaking, I forgot what the not a pile driver, but that's what we'll call it, the pile driver, to chip out all the cement and pull out the thing and put a big thing in. I'm not doing all that. You know, that's something for a professional. But I fully understand what needs to be done. So if they come in here trying to upsell me, telling me that's wrong, this is wrong, we got to do this and we got to do, I'm going to say no. All I want you to do is drill a hole, fix the pipe, and if you want to tell me what it's going to cost to replace the traps and send it out to the street, then tell me that. But other than that, I don't want to hear it. Because when I first bought the house, I was getting so confused because I didn't know what anybody was doing, and it was because I wasn't taking the time to figure it out. Now, I was in a different situation where it's like my house was almost not livable at that point. So I kind of had to get things done in a little bit fast motion. But generally, in the day-to-days of life, things are coming at you in a less than, you know, emergency way, where you have a chance to think about a problem. See what you can do. Have the confidence that you can figure it out. And I know this kind of went all over the place, but it's something that I think is very important and something that I see a lot of people not doing. Now, I am not a plumber, a construction person, but I have YouTube. I am also simplified. So I watched a bunch of YouTube videos. I simplified it down. I figured out, you know, how do I sheetrock my entire kitchen and my entire bathroom? You know, how do I put in the vanity? How am I going to tile the walls? Okay, maybe I don't want to tile the walls. What kind of flooring do I want? How do I install the subfloor? All of those things were things that I had no idea how to do. I had never used an electrical saw. I was using jigsaws, circular saws, miter saws, nail guns, all of this. Nobody was helping me. Nobody was there. And when people that knew me, that know that I've sold software, that's like the extent of the work that I've done. I've painted houses, but I've never done any of the stuff that I did. When they see it, they're like, how did you do it? Really, the main thing is just I had the confidence that I could figure it out. That was it. It wasn't anything bigger than that. I thought I could figure this out. This is not rocket science. This is not like structural stuff where, you know, if you screw up, you know, the ceiling's gonna fall down. This is simple stuff. I gotta screw in this big ass board onto these pieces of wood and cut out holes for where the electric sockets are and different pipes are, and don't drill through a pipe. Like, it's as simple as that. Now, it wasn't as easy as that. You gotta cut, you gotta measure, you gotta figure out how this works, you gotta figure out how to get things through here, and there's different obstacles. But the main thing I'm trying to get across is that in this day and age, there's no reason for you to have no understanding or have no solution to your problems. Your solutions are generally not going to come from elsewhere, external from you. It's kind of a main topic if you listen to any of my videos, that you generally know all the answers. Even if you need to get some other resources, your internal will guide you to what you need. But taking the ownership on yourself, having the belief in yourself that anything that comes your way, and I know I'm using the metaphor of the house, but this could be in deciding on a career, deciding on a woman to be with, or something of that sort, deciding on a hobby, on what you should do in your life, and starting to feel like you can figure out any problem in your life. There is nothing that this world can throw you that you can't figure out, and not being lost in this overwhelm and learned helplessness where you feel like you need to reach out to external sources at all points to solve your problems, when truth be told, you only understand your problems the best. Nobody else is going to understand it better than you, and generally, unless it's like rocket science, and even if it's rocket science, you'll probably come up with the best solution. So even if it is rocket science, that you could just pass the solution to somebody else that's an expert in making that solution happen, but the solution itself was figured out by you. So that's really it for this one. If you like the content, like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like the content, leave some negative comments, leave a dislike. Any feedback will do. And you know what it is. Until next time, peace.